The illegal elbow.
Elbow techniques.
This is the elbow.
An elbow from here. I'll throw the elbow.
Yeah, the illegal elbows.
All right, people, we're back, man. Illegal Elbow Radio. Another exciting episode for you guys, man. This is Brian from Illegal Elbow Radio, Illegal Elbow on Twitter.
And this is Dan from MMA Aftermath on Facebook and Twitter.
And coming up here is, it's a big fight. It's a big fight for Bobby Green, because Bobby Green has come out saying that after this fight against Edson Barbosa, win or lose, he might be retiring. He's got family problems. He's had his younger brother killed by gang-related gunfire, and his older brother shot with a non-gang-related incident. But still, it's being shot, you know, in a civilized world, and that's what we came up with, the thing saying, hey, if a Bobby Green was to come in here and take out an Edson Barbosa, it would be fucking huge, dude. Okay, because Edson Barbosa, yeah, he beat Evan Dunham, but he lost against Donald Cerrone. Okay, so on the other hand, we're talking about a Bobby Green who has beat a former Strikeforce champion in Josh Thompson. He's beat a Pat Healy, James Krause, Volkman, and on and on. So he's on a fucking streak here, dude. 8 fight fucking win streak, dude. Okay? And to hear that he might possibly retire because of family problems, I would have to say to a Bobby Green, why do that when if you beat an Edson Barbosa, this can catapult you up into some big-time money fights that could help your family and, like you said, bro, move his family out of that situation into a better situation.
Yeah, just completely get the hell out of there, man. It's like if it's a location issue that his family's dealing with, if it's that kind of a situation, which it might not be it. I mean, but by the sound of it, it's probably what it is. Dude, you'll be able to, it's not like you got to go to Lap of Luxury, buy a fucking, you know, like we mentioned, you know, in another show. It's not like you have to go to Lap of Luxury, buy a mansion for everybody to live in. You live within your means. You can really change your family's lives, man. I mean, why do this now? It's like you've made this huge career, you know. It's almost like if you can hold out a little bit, could probably make some huge changes. But, you know, we don't know the full magnitude of it, you know, of what the problems and stuff like that. So I guess maybe there's, you know, older family members in the family that were kind of holding pieces together that are, you know, maybe hospitalized or something, or, you know what I mean? We never really know. I mean, that's why I got to say it's got to be something deeper if he's talking about, you know, retirement, you know what I mean, for family's sake, you know what I mean? It's got to be something deeper, but maybe it's not. Maybe he's just, I don't know. Who knows? Maybe he's not thinking things clearly, but, you know, who knows? Maybe in the future he will. Maybe after this, if he were to score this win, which I think he will. Personally, I think he's a very well-rounded game opponent. And I think a Barbosa, it's going to take a lot for a Barbosa to really, Barbosa's known for his kicks, man. His head kicks, leg kicks. I think it's going to take a lot for a Barbosa to chop down a Bobby Green, man. I think Green's a crafty dude, man. I just think, if he goes in here with a shit ton of depression or something like that, and he's just broken down mentally or something like that, it might be Barbosa's game. You know, it might be the win for Barbosa to take. Who knows? But the Bobby Green that we've seen going in there, I think he's got an awesome shot at taking this fight. And if you were to knock him out, you know, like we talked about, it could be a huge, $50,000 bonus. You know what I mean? Then here he is possibly making, you know, close to
people
six
in his corner or around in his circle should be telling him this. It's like, dude, you could have a life-changing situation here if you beat Barbosa. This could catapult you into a contendership in a few more fights. You're going to be in contendership, and the money's going to be huge. You know, what are you going to do? You're going to go back take care of your parents by what? You know, unless you got college degrees and something to fall back on, because you know, usually when you go into MMA, you put everything into MMA training, everything. So,
Right.
you know, what kind of talk is this, dude? I don't know. I
I
beat
would
his
have to
ass.
say,
Move forward.
Dana would have to be in his ear. I mean, really. If there's ever a time where Dana White needs to be in somebody's ear, it's this dude right here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not trying to talk him out of something that he has to do, but talk him into the smarter choice. You know what I mean? I don't know, man. It's really, it weighs on the heart, man. It's a bum you out situation, and hopefully he, is able to make a better choice that it's still going to work out good for him and his family. You know what I mean?
The main event coming up here, man, it's going to be explosive. Frankie the Answer Edgar coming against Cub Swanson, who has worked his way all the way up to fucking number 2, man. Number 2. This has a war written all over it, bro.
It does,
has war written all over it.
It's badass. I love this idea, man. This is sweet. And just the resume, man, as of lately, it's like Cub Swanson's really come into his own, man. And I think it makes this a really cool matchup because Frankie's been in there with the best of the best. You know what I mean? Really, when it comes down to it, at this weight class, been in there with an Aldo, twice. Well, excuse me, 3 times with a BJ Penn. Which the last fight I don't even want to make light of because it's just not even mentionable. But wins over Jeremy Stevens, Dennis Seaver, Dustin Poirier, Charles Oliveira, Ross Pearson, and George Roop. I mean, those are all, at some point or another, all fucking great opponents for anybody. His last loss, Ricardo Lamas, man, we just saw what Ricardo Lamas is capable of. We've just seen it this past weekend. So, I mean, it's, before that, lost to Chad Mendez. And 2 fights before that, lost to Jose Aldo. So, I mean, he was a little bit of rough road there, but they were all huge, title contenders. Title holder or title contenders. I mean, his last 3 losses were top 3 guys. I mean, there's no better way to look at it. You know what I mean? So, and then before that, you're going back to 2007 or whatever. His loss to Jose Aldo was way back in WEC. You know what I mean? So, since basically being in the UFC, he's lost once. His UFC run so far has been 6-1, which that's fucking badass. Frankie Edgar as well. It's like 2 losses to Ben Henderson and a loss to Jose Aldo. And then outside of that, man, things look really good, man. I mean, the war with Gray Maynard, and then the second one where he just knocked him the fuck out.
Mm-hmm.
The 2 wins over BJ Penn, Matt Veach, Sean Shirk, back in the day, 5.5 years ago. Hermes Franca, if you want to go back to 2008.
Geez.
Fucking Esther, with the purple hair, Fred! Come on, Fred! But
we were doing fucking jokes about that back in the day.
Yeah, dude, that's like probably that's like a good 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Well, maybe 3.5, 4 years ago, but I don't know, man. It's so hard to even look at this fight, and even hearing people talk about it. It's like people are picking Frankie, but it's like Cub Swanson just right now. I mean, dude, the guy just. I almost can't even really say that in terms of competition. I'd say Frankie's faced a little bit better at competition, but it's damn close, dude. It's damn close. Because at different times they've fought kind of the same guy, same type of competition. But I would say as of lately, I mean, we're talking about Jeremy Stevens, Dennis Seaver, Dustin Poirier for his last 3. Frankie Edgar's last 3 were not that good, in terms of turnout, because he's got a loss to Jose Aldo, but it's just better competition.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, man. I can't even make a pick, dude. I cannot even make a pick.
I'm actually giving this to Cub Swanson, dude.
I almost want to go in that area.
And I'm giving it to Cub Swanson for the simple fact is Cub Swanson hasn't been, and I bring it back, and I say this a lot because it matters a lot in the realm of MMA. If we look at the wars, and we know what the wars are, bro. We've talked about the wars. We talk about the 5-round wars. We talk about the wars of, like a war against a Jose Aldo, a 5-round war, a 5-round split decision against Ben Henderson, a 4-round TKO war against fucking Gray Maynard. How many 5-rounders has he been in, bro?
Yeah, he's known for them, man. Yeah, great point, man. Great
the
point.
The heart is there, but when the body and the brain gets beat on during those wars, it takes a toll. I'm picking Cub Swanson in this one, dude, and I'm picking Cub Swanson with quickness, youth. It's not that much more youth, but it's youth for the simple fact it's fight youth.
Yeah, you really look at it, man. Cub Swanson's got 1 5-round fight. That's a decision against his last opponent, Jeremy Stevens. The rest, he's got no 5-round fights. So that could say something, too. Frankie Edgar might be able to take him in the later rounds. But what's that going to do for him? I mean...
But on the same token, as a Cub Swanson could be fresh, he could be game, he could not have all those war scars and wounds.
This is a good test, man. I tell you what, Cub Swanson passes this test in a 5-round battle. This is big, dude. This is real big.
Contender. He's a true contender. Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say I'm not gonna base anything off Frankie Edgar's last win because we all know BJ Penn looked emaciated. He looked like he shouldn't have been in there. It
was a clown show.
Decision win over Charles Oliveira. And I'm not going to take anything away from Oliveira. Oliveira's, he's always looked like a gamer. You know what I mean? He's always looked good. It's still 18-4. You know what I mean? He's lost to Frankie Edgar and Cub Swanson. I mean, look at that right there. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Back to back. Cub Swanson, Frankie Edgar both beat Charles Oliveira. It's like, talk about 6 degrees right here. Charles Oliveira's taking on Jeremy Stevens. December 12th. Jeremy Stevens' last fucking fight was the guy we're talking about, Cub Swanson. So I'm gonna go on a limb, because I was real close with this, man. But I'm gonna have to agree with you. I'm gonna go on a limb here, man. Cub Swanson. I think it's gonna be a fucking war, though. This is gonna be like, this has the possibilities of a Shogun Hendo 1. Just a drag him out, ass whipping fight. It's. Who would you say? I mean, let's take a look at Cub Swanson here. Frankie Edgar is not a submission guy. We know that. He's got three submissions to his game. Cub Swanson's got 7. So I mean, it's not like he's busting out the gates with submissions, but he's got right across the board. He's got a third of his wins are submissions. So if he were to get on the ground with a Frankie, could he submit him? I don't know. That I would have to say Frankie Edgar's submission defense might be a little bit too good. Because the guy's so good at getting out of shit and getting back to his feet. I don't know, man. I don't even. It's almost too tough of a breakdown, man. I think this is like I said, man. It's going to be a hell of a fight. It's a sweet matchup.
We'll see what kind of it's hard against a guy with talent. Put it that way. Hard against talent.
Yeah.
And a Cub Swanson has proven that he can knock a motherfucker out too. So Frankie, you've been in the wars, but if a Cub tees off on you and hits you in the fucking button, I know that heart's always been there, but I see Cub, man. I just see going to the next level, man. It's his time. Frankie's had his time, and the wars hurt Frankie, man. as a person, as a fighter, you can only take so many of those motherfuckers.